Hey, it's Mike here, and I've got a simple phrase that's been echoing in my mind lately. I leave behind attempts, not regrets. Now, if you're like me, you've probably got a graveyard of sketchbooks, abandoned pencils, and half finished drawings buried under piles of maybe I'll get back to it someday. But here's the thing, every attempt you've ever made to draw wasn't wasted, it wasn't a failure. It was a step forward, even if the lines wobbled, even if you quit for a while, even if you thought, I'll never get this. Today, I want to talk about why attempts matter more than regrets, and how learning patience, the fourth core principle for the absolute beginner artist, can transform the way you see your own progress. Let's start with this. An attempt is proof you were brave enough to try. A regret? That's proof you let fear keep you still. When you attempt, even badly, you leave behind a trail of growth. That figure drawing you drew last week is better than the one you drew last year. That awkward sketch you gave up on halfway through, it taught you something your brain is still processing, even if you didn't notice. Regret leaves you empty handed. Attempts leaves you with an ink smudge on your fingers, a tiny reminder that you showed up. And isn't that the point? To live in a way where you can say, I tried, I pushed, I didn't let the fear of imperfection silence me. That's why I say, I leave behind attempts, not regrets. But here's the snag. Attempts only work if you stick around long enough to see where they lead. And this is where patience comes in. Core principle number 4 for the absolute beginner artist. See, patience isn't just waiting for the day you can finally draw a perfect portrait. Patience is the quiet trust that today's clumsy drawings are laying bricks for tomorrow's steady ones. Most of us want progress fast. We sit down, we draw a hand, and it looks like a rubber chicken. So we get frustrated. We want to skip the awkward phase. We want to fast forward. But patience says, no rush. Every line counts. Every day you show up, you're building something invisible until suddenly it's not invisible anymore. Think about a gym membership. You sign up, you show up. For weeks, nothing happens. In the mirror, you look the same. On the scale, the numbers mock you. That's what drawing feels like at first. Just sweat and soreness, no transformation, no six-pack abs. But if you stop showing up, you'll never see the change. Patience is showing up to sweat, even when the mirror lies. Now let's tie attempts and patience together. Every attempt you make is training, not just for your hand, but for your patience. When you draw a face and don't rip the paper up, that's patience. When you sit down to draw 10 minutes instead of scrolling your phone, that's patience. And patience multiplies. One day, you'll look back at those old sketchbooks and realize what felt like meaningless scribbles were the foundation of your growth. The proof you didn't give up. The proof you kept attempting. And here's the part I love the most. Your attempts don't have to be pretty. They just have to be honest. That's where transformation lives. Not in polished drawings, but in the messy, unfiltered attempts you leave behind. Let me give you a quick personal story. Years ago, I used to start drawing again with this huge burst of energy. I spent hours the first couple of weeks, filled pages with sketches, and then inevitably, I'd crash, I'd burn out. Why? Because my expectations were too high. I wasn't patient. So every time I failed, I told myself, well, I'm just not cut out for this. But the truth wasn't that I lacked talent, it was that I lacked patience. Now I approach it differently. What I do, I give myself 30 minutes a day, 15 or 20 minutes on a handful of armature drawings, 10 or 15 minutes on a full figure drawing attempt. That's it, small attempts. And because I'm learning patience, those attempts stack. Do I still want to be better? Of course. But patience reminds me progress is happening even when I can't see it yet. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I don't regret restarting. So here's what I want you to take from this: leave behind attempts, not regrets. Pick up your pencil today, draw something just beyond your current skill level. And if you're having problems trying to figure out what to draw, I provided 2 Pinterest links in the description to help get you started. Just copy and paste the links into your browser. But at this point, it doesn't matter what you draw. It could be anything. What matters is that you showed up. And when your brain says this isn't good enough, remind yourself, patience. You're building muscle. You won't see gains tomorrow. But one day you'll flip through your old sketches and realize your patience turned attempts into progress. So don't aim for perfection, aim for an attempt. That's all it takes. Because an attempt, no matter how small, is always better than the weight of a regret. I leave behind attempts, not regrets, and so can you. And remember, every time you pick up that pencil, you're not just practicing drawing, you're practicing patience. Even if the page ends up a total mess, you're not failing. You're attempting. You're proving to yourself that attempts matter more than perfection. And that trying, even imperfectly, will always be a lifetime of wondering, what if? And believe me, after decades of stumbling through my own attempts, I've learned they matter more than you think. Because one day, those shaky lines and awkward sketches are going to be the proof that you showed up. And when you look back, you won't be counting the drawings you didn't make. You'll be proud of the attempts you did. So if this message hit home for you, drop this in the comments to remind yourself and every other beginner watching, no regrets, only tries. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next video on our journey. We're building a community of artists who are learning, growing, and showing up together, one perfect attempt at a time. I'm cheering for you, my fellow artists. Now go make today's attempt, because that's how tomorrow's progress begins. Until our next video, take care of yourselves.